Welcome to your flipped classroom. Today I will be introducing you all to literary criticism and how to use literary lenses when you are reading literature. Make sure to follow along and take notes on all relevant information. Literary lenses were developed as a means to understand the various ways people read texts. These lenses help readers view a text in a variety of ways. There is no evidence that one lens is better than another, but sometimes there are lenses that are more applicable to novels than others. This flowchart should help clear up why readers use literary lenses. You, as the reader, choose a lens to look through, and that lens provides a certain way to see the text, which finally leads the reader to the theme of the literature. There can be multiple literary lenses applied to the same novel. It all depends on what details the reader chooses to focus on. What follows in this lecture is a summary of the most common literary lenses used when performing literary criticism. The text in black is a general definition of the lens, and the questions in red are questions you as the reader can ask the text when using a specific lens. Let's begin with psychological criticism. This type of criticism examines the psychological motivations of characters as a way to find meaning within the text. For this lecture, I'm going to use Harry Potter as an example text to show you as the reader how many diverse lenses can be applied to one storyline. Let's first use the example of the character Snape. J.K. Rowling, the author of the series, uses Severus Snape, a character full of anger, to suggest that the acceptance of loss is often a lifelong psychological struggle. Now on to biographical criticism. Biographical criticism examines the life of the author as a way to find meaning in the text. The Harry Potter series stresses the importance of making the right choices in difficult circumstances, which reflects J.K. Rowling's life as a single mother on welfare, having to make several difficult decisions and hard choices. Historical criticism examines historical events happening either at the time of the text creation or happened earlier than the text as a way to find meaning within the text. For example, the terrifying reign of Sauron in J.R.R. Tolkien's Lord of the Rings is in part a depiction of Hitler and Nazi control over Germany in the years leading up to World War II. In rhetorical criticism, a reader examines how a text serves as social action, aiming to persuade its readers of a certain stance on an issue. Moving back to the Harry Potter example, the evolution of the Ministry of Magic from ineffective to totalitarian is an attempt to persuade readers to be active in civil discourse, speaking out against what they see as wrong. Cultural criticism is a way of looking at a text as a product of the larger cultural attitudes of race, gender, class, sexuality, etc., in which it is created. It is often concerned with questions of power and social structures. Some questions to ask yourself when using cultural criticism is, who in this text has authority or power? How is that power exercised? Alternatively, who in the text is given a voice? Who is not? Feminist criticism is a way of looking at a text for its messages regarding the treatment of women within a patriarchal social structure. Feminist critic Sandy Doyle weighs in on the Harry Potter series' most well-known female hero. Everyone loves Hermione. Feminist critic Doyle says, Hermione is not chosen to be a hero. That's the best thing about her. Hermione is a hero because she decides to be a hero. There is no prophecy assuring her importance. The only way for Hermione to have a life is that she wants the life she has to work for. Economic criticism is more formally referred to as Marxist criticism. This is a way of looking at a text as a commentary on economic or class structures. In Harry Potter, Rowling's villains are often rich in gold and cruel to those who are not, suggesting that wealth often makes one blind to his or her own privilege, and thus insensitive to the lives of others. Shown here in this PowerPoint are the Dursleys, who make Harry's life terrible because he has no money to help support himself or supplement the family income. If you can recall, they forced Harry to live in a small storage closet under the stairs for years before Harry finally received his letter to Hogwarts. The final lens I want to highlight for you today is race criticism, or the critical race theory. Racial criticism is a way of looking at a text for its messages regarding the treatment of racial or ethnic minorities within the culture. In Harry Potter, Rowling highlights the Slytherin house with disgust for mudbloods, or wizards of mixed wizard and non-wizard lineage, to illustrate how people in power might justify mistreatment and violence toward other human beings. Now it's your turn. Can you think of any ways that you, as a reader, can apply these theories to your favorite story, novel, or movie? I'm going to give you all an example of how the same story can be viewed with two different lenses. My absolute favorite Disney movie is Beauty and the Beast. Belle is an adorable bookworm who has a love for singing and reading. She sounds like we'd be very great friends. When viewing the story of Beauty and the Beast through a feminist lens, as a woman, it does not send the greatest message to other young women. Belle is shamed by her friends and by the townspeople for not wanting to marry Gaston, the strong and obnoxious hunter that everyone else seems to swoon over. The townspeople cannot understand why Belle would rather have an intellectual conversation with her significant other than marry this rich, manly man. The movie has a musical number discussing how much of a funny girl Belle is for not showing any interest in Gaston. This clearly places a large emphasis on marriage and the absolute power of the masculine figure. Only males in the movie are shown to be hunting, drinking, or doing any real activity. The females are always looking in the mirror, fawning over the males, or cleaning. There is no power given to women until Belle takes it upon herself to rescue her father from the beast that captures him. Now, let's look at the story from an economic lens, or a Marxist lens. First of all, Gaston seems to belittle the other townspeople and refuses to interact with them because no one can be as wealthy as he is. There is a whole scene in the movie dedicated to how great Gaston is and how no one could ever be as rich as him. Gaston is seen as an overbearing rich hunter who expects society to bend around his rules because he has the most material items out of anyone in the town. Also, when Belle tries to help rescue her father from the beast, no one decides to help her. She has to ride off alone into the forest with only their family horse and a small lantern. Yet, when Gaston organizes a strike on the beast castle, there are many people with pitchforks, fire, and other helpful supplies. Where were all these resources when the less fortunate Belle asked for them? Why did they only materialize when the rich asked for help? Clearly, this movie is significantly linking wealth and power together. Can you think of one of your favorite stories, movies, or novels that you can analyze through a literary lens? In tomorrow's lecture, I will novel how to read a short story through a literary lens, and we will then begin to discuss what a close reading is. Your assignment for tonight is to visit the Purdue OWL website on the next slide and write a blog response discussing which literary lens seems most interesting to you as a reader. Does one seem extremely hard to apply to literature? Can you see yourself using a certain lens more than others? Please explain your thoughts in at least one paragraph. You're going to use this website for a more in-depth view about literary lenses and to help plan your blog post. Stay tuned for the next lecture where I model how to view a short story through a literary lens.